Do you long for a deeper sense of purpose and meaning in your life? And are you tired of mission statements that promise a deeper sense of purpose but leave you feeling empty? I'm Stu Murray, and today we're going to dive deep into what I think is the essence of purpose, living a life in alignment with my core values. I've been on a quest to deepen my sense of purpose and meaning and make the most of my human existence. I've come across quite a bit of advice from self-help gurus who have airy-fairy ideals and abstract concepts, but it lacks a sense of practicality, an ability for me to actually apply the concepts in my life. So leaves me with this general idea of what purpose and meaning is without a roadmap or a way to actually experience that in my life. And the same goes in the business leadership space. I've engaged in different activities to dive in to capture my purpose statement or my mission statement. And while these things have offered a degree of clarity, they haven't brought me deeper to that sense of purpose that I want to feel in my body. What I'm really longing for when I speak of purpose is a feeling of aliveness that runs through my body, that I am in the right moment, doing the right thing with the right people and for the right reasons. That's really what I want to feel. That feeling of meaning, that sense of fulfillment in my life tends to emerge when I'm living purposefully, when I'm aligning my actions and my speech with the things that I value. So if you're starting to see a key theme now, what I find brings me purpose and meaning in my life is having clear core values and living in alignment with those. And defining and clarifying my core values wasn't a practice that I grew up with. I learned values secondhand, and I had inherited rules and ways of being, but the practice of making it clear and explicit and actually figuring out what my own values are is not something I've done until my adult phase in life. So for me, that practice of reflecting on what is important to me and what are the values that I want to represent who I am and how I show up, and the legacy and the impact that I want to have will be reflected in the values that I hold. For example, if I value honesty, well, then how is that showing up in my relationships? Am I sharing the things that I need to say? The little places where I withhold my truths to keep conflict out of the picture or to avoid confrontation. There's all these little moments in my life that I'm not in alignment, and I can feel that in my body. And so when I'm not feeling in alignment in my body, when I'm not feeling that harmony flowing through, or I'm experiencing a sense of contraction, that's when I can ask myself, what am I withholding from somebody else or from myself right now that I need to be more honest with to bring that into deeper alignment? As I've worked with men, I've come to realize that I wasn't the only one who struggled with lacking clear values that guide my life. In fact, I've really found that to be a common pattern among men, that we've either inherited some story of what the values are based on the rules we've been given, or for some of us, we have no idea what they are at all. And if you're relating to that and feeling a little bit overwhelmed, even in the thought of trying to discover that, an invitation I have for you is to reflect on peak moments of fulfillment in your life that have brought you a deep sense of joy, and think, what was I doing and saying in those moments that brought that deep sense of fulfillment? And what values might that be tied to? What actions was I taking that maybe illuminate some kind of character trait that I aspire to embody that I was doing in that moment? Another thing to do is just reflect and take through an inventory of all the different values and actually see which ones stand out to me. In fact, I've created a free core values inventory list that you can access in the description below so that you can go through and start to look at a whole list of different values and see what stands out to you and start to refine what ones come up to the top and how do I carve my own values at this stage in my life so that I can live in deeper alignment with my truth. Once we've started to clarify what our core values are, the next piece is actually the most challenging, which is living in alignment with them. And we're all far from perfect and we all have our rough edges, but it's taking small, actionable steps to bring the things that we believe in, the values that I hold dear, in alignment with the things that I say and do in my life. Another thing to highlight here that I think is underemphasized in our fast-paced world is that once I get clear on my core values, I might think that I need to go out and do more things that are in alignment with those. For me, I don't think the answer is doing more. I think a great place to start is to look at the things I'm already doing. Look at the habits that I have. Look at my morning routine. Look at how I'm ending my days. Look at how I'm spending the time in my days and the people that I surround myself with. How are those in or out of alignment with my values? And from there, anything that is showing signs of not being in alignment, that's an opportunity for me to be able to actually eliminate what's not serving the highest potential that I can bring to the world. What habits am I doing that aren't serving? What individuals am I associating with that are not filling my highest potential? I encourage you, before running out with excitement, to go and put more onto your plate. Take a look at what's not in alignment first. Create space in your life. Create space in your days so that you feel a sense of spaciousness, a sense of presence, a sense of ease, where you can actually pause and find more mindful moments to continue to assess what is serving my highest potential here. And are my actions and my speech in alignment with the values that I'm aiming to embody? Once I get clear on my values and I'm starting to strip away all of the non-essential aspects of my life, then I can really start to look at, where am I trying to go? What are my bigger visions? What are my aspirations? And assessing again, are they in alignment with the values that I hold? And if they are, then I can start to work backwards. What are the smaller steps? What do I have to do this month to move that forward? What do I have to do this week? What are the daily habits that I need to embody? And I'm going to be creating a whole video around how to take big aspirations and turn them into practical bite-sized pieces. And if that's of interest to you, let me know down in the comments. Living in alignment with my values requires a moment-to-moment presence and awareness. So while I can keep a pulse on those bigger picture vision that I'm working towards, it's really the habits and the intentional actions that I take on a day-to-day that are going to move me forward to that kind of sensation that I want to experience. Again, that sense of aliveness, which I think is that sense of purpose, that sense of I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, doing exactly the thing I'm supposed to be doing. If you're like me, while you're striving to set the high standards and move the bar forward, it's important to be graceful with yourself and be compassionate and be kind, because inevitably we're going to fall off track. We're going to make mistakes, and it's important to be soft with ourselves, forgive ourselves, and celebrate the small wins. It's not something I still do enough, and it's something that I'm trying to build in. But when I'm making choices that are in alignment with my highest ideal, I'm trying to stop and celebrate and just congratulate myself for doing that little thing, rather than constantly lashing myself for all the little places that I'm not in alignment in my life. Inevitably, we're going to come up against social pressures and internal self-doubts from stories that we've inherited over the years, stories that aren't serving us anymore. And while I can do a lot of this work on my own, the real transformative power that I've experienced really comes from being surrounded by a community of individuals who are holding me in a more beautiful story, who are inviting me into my highest potential. For me, that's been a men's group. That's been a community of men where I can bring my challenges, my victories, and everything in between. And I can put it all out on the table. And Get real, honest, raw feedback from them. Because the way I receive feedback from men and the directness that I can receive is a different energy than I can with the women in my life. The level of direct feedback and the level of accountability and the standard that I can be held to with men has really sharpened my edge. It's allowed me to see my blind spots more clearly and to challenge myself on a regular basis to lean into the places that I've been avoiding, the places where I've chosen comfort and convenience rather than doing what I knew was right in my heart. And when I knew that there was another man or some other brothers in my life that I had to report back to, that changed everything. For me, purpose and meaning is not something that we have to conceptualize in our minds or something very abstract. I think we can make it really distilled and practical. And that involves getting clear on what I value in my life. And it involves taking intentional steps to live in deeper alignment with that truth. That's not easy. It involves eliminating the things that aren't serving piece by piece and seeking support, whether that's a men's group, a therapist, a coach, a close friend that you can hold dear. Seek support, particularly if you are a man. Seek support from other men. You'll get a different kind of advice, of feedback, of accountability that will hold you to a higher standard and help sharpen your edge so that you can show up in your full presence, in your full potential. I can't stress enough the amount of evolution and transformation I've experienced in my life from having solid men I can turn to, I can share my struggles with. I can realize I'm not alone, and I can be held in that higher story of how I want to show up. Because inevitably I'm going to fall flat on my face. And when I'm starting to fall into patterns of self-doubt and beat myself up, it's another man who's able to help pick me up, scrape off the dust and all the cuts and say, hey, brother, I see you. I see who you are and who you're becoming, and I'm here to support you. That kind of support is invaluable. And I hope you can find a place to be able to seek that. So take action. If there's some solid men in your life right now, maybe it's time to start deepening the conversation with them and start to share the depth of what's really on your heart and who you are really trying to become, and build accountability structures, build a place for honest conversations, or seek out a men's community, or find a personal one-on-one coach who you can really start to sharpen those edges with and lean in and share everything that you're going through so that you can be the best version of yourself. I'd love to hear from you. What does purpose and meaning mean to you? And how do you cultivate a sense of purpose in your days? Thank you for watching, and I hope this video has offered you insights onto living a purpose-driven life. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more content along these lines, please hit subscribe and join me on this journey. Thanks again, and see you next time.